The Seer-Priest Ze'thar closed his eyes as his hands touched the pulsating surface of the oracle crystal, and what he felt through the aeon current froze his blood in veins that had witnessed 100 solar cycles of peace. It was not a vision, not a premonition. It was a wound, a tear in the very fabric of reality, as if someone sharpened a blade made of pure absence and was slowly slicing through the cosmic tapestry that connected all living consciousness. And through that wound he saw a dead metal chamber where humans dressed in silver uniforms spoke words of vengeance, while contemplating weapons that killed not bodies, but souls. Ze'thar opened his eyes suddenly, tears tracing lines on his face marked by wisdom, and spoke words that would turn the Council of the Seven Flames into a philosophical battlefield. They have created weapons that assassinate the current itself, and now they send an emissary asking for peace, while hiding blades behind diplomatic smiles. Matriarch Sylvana rose from her throne of living stone with movements like ritual dance. Each gesture measured, every breath synchronized with the pulse of the current flowing through the circular temple like an invisible river of shared consciousness. Her voice, when it finally emerged, carried the weight of 1,000 generations of spiritual guardians who had protected the Aeon signals since the moon, Arc Solemn, scattered them across the galaxy in times immemorial. Then the vision is confirmed. The human emissary waiting in the reception chamber does not come seeking true reconciliation. He comes to measure our strength, to count our sages, to map our temples, so that when the void blades come, they will know exactly where to strike. She paused, letting each word sink into the collective consciousness of the seven elders gathered. The question we must answer is not if humans want war. We know they do. The question is, should we grant them the illusion of peace while preparing defenses, or confront them now with the truth they sense but refuse to accept? Elder Thalren, whose silver beard had grown through generations witnessing the birth and death of distant stars, leaned forward, resting on his crystalline staff, softly resonating in harmony with the beats of his ancestral heart. We must receive him, Matriarch, not because we believe his words, but because through him we can touch the current that flows even in hearts as hardened as dead metal. We can show him what their weapons of negation will do not only to us, but to all sentient life in the galaxy, including their own. His voice trembled with compassion, transcending species. They are children playing with cosmic fire, unaware that the universe makes no distinction between aggressor and victim when correcting fundamental imbalances. But Elder Mariah rose abruptly, breaking the millennia-old speaking order protocol governing the council, her voice cutting the air with urgency, bordering on despair. Compassion blinded us before, Thalren. Compassion made us hesitate when their first ships arrived with blasphemous holograms, and that hesitation cost Kaedryn lives that will not return to the current for generations, their essences fragmented by the trauma of facing soulless light. She turned to Sylvana, golden eyes glowing with an intensity that made the air shimmer. If we receive this emissary, if we show hospitality while he catalogues our weaknesses, we sign the death sentence not only for our generation, but for all to come. Because the weapons Ze'thar saw do not just destroy flesh, they destroy the very potential for life, creating voids where the current can no longer flow, transforming entire solar systems into spiritual deserts where no consciousness will ever awaken. The silence that followed was as heavy as black hole gravity, bending space itself with the magnitude of the pending decision. Then the young seer Lysara, who piloted one of the ships that faced the human holograms and survived to tell the tale, spoke for the first time in council, her voice still carrying psychic scars from battle. I saw their faces when the holograms exploded. It was not just surprise, it was existential terror. Terror of discovering the universe does not operate by the rules they wrote in their manuals of dead physics. She paused, vivid memory dancing in her violet eyes. And now that terror has turned into fury, fury of children who found the cosmos is larger, stranger, and more alive than they ever imagined. And furious children with cosmic weapons are the nightmare neither Elia can divert, nor Serai heal nor Kaor channel. Ze'thar stood, moving to the very center of the circle where the current converged so intensely, the stone beneath his feet glowed with amber light. Then we must do what we have always done when confronted with armed ignorance threatening all life. We must teach them, not with words that can be twisted or ignored, but with direct experience. He raised his hands, and the oracle crystal responded, projecting not a technological hologram but a living manifestation of the current itself, blue-violet threads of energy intertwining in patterns, revealing the cosmic web connecting every conscious being across unimaginable distances. Let the human emissary enter, but when he crosses the threshold of the observatory temple, we will do something we never have before. We will fully open his mind to the current. We will force his limited and shielded consciousness to feel what we feel, and then he will understand what their umbral lances will truly do, not to us, but to himself and all that he loves. Sylvana studied Ze'thar for long moments, reading in the lines of his face a determination born not of arrogance, but of sacred despair, the despair of a guardian who knows all options lead to suffering, but some lead to annihilation. And if his mind breaks under the weight of the current, humans are not trained from birth to endure collective consciousness. Their brains operate in deliberate isolation, thick walls of ego separating each individual like islands of loneliness in an ocean of potential connection. Forcing him to feel the current may kill him. Or worse, turn him into an empty shell, conscious but unable to process reality without filters his people built through millennia of philosophical materialism. Ze'thar nodded slowly, accepting the moral weight of the proposal. Then let it be a martyrdom that saves billions, because if he dies or breaks, but his death transmitted through the current reaches other humans with residual psychic sensitivity, they will feel why. They will feel it was not attack but revelation, and perhaps, just perhaps, some of them will understand that war against the current is war against themselves. He paused, letting the gravity of the choice settle. And if he survives, if his mind is strong enough to endure the truth without filters, then he will return to the dominion of Sol, not as a spy cataloging weaknesses, but as a witness carrying knowledge that cannot be unknown. And that knowledge is the only weapon we have against their ignorance. Thalen tapped his staff thrice against the stone, the sound echoing with ritual purpose. Then it is decided. The emissary will be received with full hospitality. He will be fed, will be heard, will be treated as a sacred guest according to Aeon laws. And then, when he believes he has won our trust and that his spying mission succeeded, Ze'thar will open the current gate and force him to see the universe as it truly is. Not through lenses of dead technology and materialistic philosophy, but through the eyes of Eliar, Sarai, and Kaur, the guardians who watch without judging, heal without expecting payment, and catalyze change without destroying essence. Miriah still seemed doubtful, fingers anxiously drumming on her throne's armrest. And when the Dominion discovers what we have done, when they see this not as a gift of wisdom, but as a psychic attack violating their emissary's mind, they will use it as justification for the attack they already plan. They will call us mental invaders, psychic manipulators, a threat to individual autonomy, their culture values above all, even above collective survival. Sylvana finally spoke, her voice carrying the resignation of one who understands all choices in crisis are bad, leaving only the selection of the lesser or more honest evil. Then let them say what they will. Truth remains truth regardless of how wrapped in propaganda and political excuses. We attack no one. We offer the blind the chance to see. If they interpret vision as violation, that interpretation says more about them than about us. She stood fully, signaling the end of the meeting. Bring the emissary, prepare the fusion chamber, and may Elia grant us wisdom, Sarai grant us compassion, and Kaur grant us courage to endure what comes next. Because regardless of outcome, tonight will change the course of galactic history. Toward light or darkness we can no longer predict. Hours later, the human emissary Marcus Thalen crossed the threshold of the observatory temple, with measured steps of a professional diplomat, every movement calculated, every facial expression carefully neutral. But Ze'thar, watching him through the current, saw beyond the mask of official competence. He saw fear hidden beneath layers of military training. He saw reluctant curiosity battling orders to remain emotionally distant. And he saw, deeply buried but still glowing like embers under ash, a fragment of latent psychic ability that Marcus himself was unaware he possessed. The genetic residue of human ancestors who once walked closer to the current before their Civilization chose technology over spirituality. "Welcome Marcus Thalen of the Dominion of Sol," Sylvana spoke in universal translation, her words flowing through the current to be understood not only by ears, but directly into consciousness. "You come to speak of peace, then let us speak. But first allow us to offer a gift of hospitality according to our ancestral traditions." Marcus bowed slightly, diplomatic. "I am honored by the reception, Matriarch. The Dominion of Sol sent me as a gesture of good faith, recognizing that tragic misunderstandings occurred during our first encounter." His words were perfectly polished, devoid of real emotion, recited as scripted and approved by dozens of foreign affairs committees. Ze'thar approached, carrying a cup made of unique Arindra crystal, grown through centuries of collective meditation until its molecular structure perfectly resonated with the current's frequency. Inside the cup, amber liquid glowed with inner light. "Drink, emissary. It is extracted from the aeon flowers that grow only where the current flows most intensely. It purifies body and opens mind, considered by our people the drink that brings mortal closer to divine." Marcus hesitated imperceptibly. Training warned of toxins, of drugs that might impair judgment or involuntarily extract information. But refusal would be a diplomatic insult, destroying the mission before it began. He took the cup, raised it in a respectful salute, and drank. The liquid descended like liquid fire from distant stars, burning and healing simultaneously. And then Marcus Thalen's world collapsed and rebuilt itself in patterns no alien contact manual had prepared him to process. Because suddenly he was no longer isolated in his own mind. He was connected to Sylvana, to Ze'thar, to the 7 elders, to every living Kaedryn on Kael'dris, to every conscious being touched by the current across light years of cosmic distance. And through that massive connection, he felt what they had felt the day human ships arrived with blasphemous holograms. He felt the pain of witnessing creation without a creator, light without soul, illusion pretending to be reality. And then, deeper still, he felt the growing terror now coursing through every Kaedryn seer like a spiritual virus, the sensation of the umbral lances being forged, weapons that did not just kill, but erased, deleting not only present life, but future potential, transforming entire regions of the cosmos into deserts where the current will never again flow and conscious life will never again emerge. Marcus fell to his knees, tears leaking involuntarily, as his mind struggled to process billions of perspectives simultaneously. And through the tears, through the existential terror of discovering that loneliness was illusion and connection, a fundamental truth of the universe, he finally understood. The Kaedryn were not primitive. They were advanced beyond human comprehension, and the umbral lances the Dominion secretly forged were not weapons of victory. They were instruments of cosmic suicide. Because killing the current meant killing the very possibility of consciousness, including human consciousness. Ze'thar knelt beside Marcus, his hand gently touching the trembling emissary's shoulder. "Now you know, child of distant stars. Now you feel. And when you return to your people, you will carry knowledge that cannot be stolen or denied. The choice will be theirs, to stop the umbral lances and seek true peace through understanding, or to go forward with genocide that will kill them as surely as it kills us." And in a dead metal chamber light years away, Admiral Corvin watched a chronometer, marking 70 hours until the launch of Operation Final Lance, unaware that his emissary had just become the only hope of salvation for both sides, or the witness to the condemnation of all.